Well, hi everyone, Starbursts here, and welcome to the 10th and final episode of my Minecraft building tutorial series, Creative Mode. If you don't already know about the series, I will be explaining the elements and principles of design, such as shape, color, contrast, and the like, and how they can relate to building in Minecraft. Oh, and I'm using the VoxelBox Halcyon texture pack throughout the series, and at specified times I will also use the VoxelBox Organics texture pack. In this final episode of Creative Mode, we will discuss the last and quite possibly one of the most useful principles of visual design, movement. Movement describes how a builder is able to create an implied motion out of a still object. One of the most universal uses of movement appears in the concept of material grain. The concept of material grain was first documented in late 2010 by Featherblade on the Voxel Wiki. He taught that the texture of certain blocks implied different kinds of motion. For example, the marble pillar block in the Halcyon texture pack has better continuity when stacked on top of itself than when it's stacked side by side. This is because the block displays a sort of vertical movement because the lines in the texture go in a vertical direction. This means that this type of block will have a preference for being placed on top of one another. There are also blocks that have horizontal movement, such as logs when placed sideways. These blocks will have a preference for being placed side by side. And then, lastly, many blocks display a sort of neutral movement and imply no motion with their texture, and they have no preference for their placement. Understanding the principle of movement when applied in this manner is fundamental to building well and has been for a very long time now. We can even see these concepts demonstrated in the oldest builds on the VoxelBox here in the earlier parts of Addenberry, built by Andy BZ17. And we also see the exact same fundamental concept employed in all of the newer towns on the server, such as Hanai, built by Spectre Cody. If you need even more references, check out all of my previous videos. In all of the builds that were showcased, this principle still applies. Now, movement can also be used to help bring a scene in Minecraft to life through the use of dynamic elements. Dynamic elements in a build are components that seem like they're in motion. Again, we can't have actual motion in Minecraft, but we can make builds look like they're actually in motion based off the type of build it is or the build's position in space. Let's take a look at Bedlam. The town incorporates many small and dynamic builds which add life to the chaos and disorderliness of the city. There are many blimps that float above the city, and they seem like they're in motion for a variety of reasons. Firstly, we understand that the majority of the time, blimps that are in flight will be moving. With that common knowledge in mind, combined with the fact that in many instances the engines project smoke from the blimps, we again come to understand that the blimps are moving. But what really helps them come to life is their off-axis build style. Most of the time, the lines that are used in Minecraft to build are constructed along only the X or Z axis. But builds really come alive when lines that are used in the build defy this concept and are built across both axes. This is exactly what happens with some of the blimps that are floating around Bedlam, and it gives off the impression that they are truly independent of the classical Minecraft straightness and can move freely about the world. Lastly, we can introduce another type of movement that can be used very effectively to emphasize certain parts of a build by controlling where the player looks and moves. This is called compositional movement, and it describes how the viewer's eye will move about the build. Let's take a look at this floating city built by Spectre Cody right outside of his city of Hanai. The dark green lines that span across the hull horizontally really contrast with the surrounding materials, and therefore catch the viewer's eye quickly. The viewer will then follow those lines down the length of the ship. This could have been done for a variety of reasons. Maybe Cody wanted to emphasize the length of the ship. Whatever the reason, Cody controlled where you looked by using the elements and principles in his build. Oftentimes in feature builds, builders may consider incorporating compositional movement to guide a player to the entrance of a building. Compositional movement also applies to the interior of buildings, but in a very different way. In fact, I made a full video of it on my own YouTube channel, and the link is in the description. And that's all there is to movement as it pertains to Minecraft. I just want to thank everyone for their support over the course of the series. From the builders whose builds I often use, to the regular viewers of the show who enjoy and learn from what I create, all the way to Alex and Chibi, who have always really believed strongly in the series. I do truly hope that you've enjoyed the entirety of the show. And as always, I would like to thank you one last time for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed.